Welcome to the Sellernomics podcast, where we share valuable tips and information in the Amazon and e-commerce space. Each week, we deliver the best interviews with some of the top Amazon personalities in the industry to help you grow your business. Today's episode is brought to you by Getida, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at Getida.com/Sellernomics. And now, here are your hosts, Rob Stanley and Lisa Kinski.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Sellernomics. My name is Lisa Kinski and I'm joined by my co-host Rob Stanley. And today we have with us a guest talking about a very exciting topic, kind of a code that I would say very few have cracked, but that almost doesn't seem true, but a code that's hard to crack, right? Which is how to create viral content, specifically how Amazon sellers can create viral content. I feel like that's something that everybody is really striving to do, and they're not quite sure how, like what to make, when to post, how, etc. So let's go on ahead and bring on our guest today. We have with us Samer Itani with 2 chapters ahead. Samer, how are you?
Hey, doing great, Lisa. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful. Thank you so much. So, Samer, first things first, like algorithms. How do they affect virality? Where do people learn? Yeah, just like straight off the deep end. I mean, and where do people learn about them? Because I know my source for learning algorithms on LinkedIn, but other than that, I've got nothing. Like, where do you go?
Good question. So to learn algorithms, you either have to experience things. So you have to put out a lot of videos and see different charts, really understand what hits home, what doesn't. Or what I personally did for a long time is I understood human behavior. So the algorithm is just simply human behavior, right? So the algorithm often changes, and that's because we change as individuals. And the more that we change and the different types of content that we receive, the more that we have to adapt to new types of content and new structures. And based on watching what people do, that's whenever I could come back and then take data, like data-driven, let's say, videos or like all the analytics, and then base it off of how a human would react based off the video that the person created. So I don't know if that really makes sense, but you just always ask yourself, what is the person thinking? What did they do? And how did they behave? And then how can I tap into their behavior in order to keep them on this video? Because the algorithm is much deeper than that, right? So the algorithm, I'll give you guys the secrets of the algorithm.
Yes,
they're very straightforward. By the way, hi Rob, nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, brother.
So the honest, like, this is the algorithm. It's very, very straightforward. Number one, all the platforms want to do one thing and one thing only, is to make money. That's, at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? Especially because they're giving us a free platform to go and advertise our business or so on and so forth. They want something in return, which is generally advertisement. So they need people to run ads on their platform. That's how they make money. And in order for people to keep running ads on their platform, they need people to be on the platform in order to buy the products that people are advertising. Very straightforward, right? So the number one thing is, how do we get people to stay on the platform? So that's where it usually starts from the top, which is the click-through rate, meaning the image, let's say it's a thumbnail. What is that thumbnail? How nice is it? Does it cause curiosity? Does it create some sort of emotion? Is it controversial, right? That's what it really starts off with. And if it's a short piece of content, let's say on Instagram or whatever it may be, that's the hook. So that's like the first millisecond that's being shown on your video, right? So that's the click-through rate / hook. That is one of the most important parts of the algorithm. It's the number one thing that all platforms will judge you on. They have a swipe versus view ratio for short content, and then a click-through rate for long-form content. And the way they judge that, it's a percentage. So let's say there's 100 people that got shown your thumbnail, and 6 people click, you have a 6% click-through rate, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing that people are going to judge you on.
And what's like considered a good click-through rate, like in general?
It depends on your audience, depends on your niche. Some niches, like let's say informational, educational, we're looking at like 6 to 8% is generally a good thumbnail. Obviously, anything above that is really good. There's nothing wrong with that. But 6 to 8, don't beat yourself up. You're doing pretty well, all right? If you're at the 1, 2%, you need to work on your thumbnail or your title. So that way you could create a bit more curiosity or evoke a bit more emotion. But that's kind of the metrics there. If you're looking at the view versus swipe ratio, you want above 50% of the people that see it stop. Generally, you want way above, like 55, 60%. That's like really, really good. But if you're at the 50 mark, 52%, it's not the worst. But once you start going under there, that's when it could just die out. That's when most people will see like a huge spike, which is called the seed audience, YouTube testing your video based off of their behavior. Then the next steps are retention rate, right? So let's say the person stopped and viewed your video. What is the next step that YouTube is looking at, or any other platform, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be? The next thing is the retention rate. How long somebody stayed on the platform and specifically on your video to watch that video. Because that's how we could decide if that video is good or not to a certain extent.
And that was going to be my next question, was when you're talking about, because I know like LinkedIn has an algorithm for like linger time over a post, right? That's why they're all, 3 enters in between each line of text to see how long did it take you to scroll through? Did you really read it? And so when you're talking about, swipe versus view or the click-through rate of the video, is it a percentage of watch time that tells either TikTok, Instagram, YouTube that it's a view, or is it viewing the duration of the video that counts as a view?
No, so it's just a few seconds. So if it's a short, generally it's about 2-3 seconds, and that counts as a view. And then if you're using long form content, generally you click on the video, you watch after the ad, you're 3 seconds in, 5 seconds in, that counts as a view as well.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. And I know you can watch like on if you have the analytics on the back end of YouTube specifically, you can see like, oh, people are dropping off around 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If you have really long form content,
Correct.
They can see where you lose. But if you're a newer seller that doesn't have these channels established yet, right? Like they have a new brand or they have an existing brand and they've just never really gotten into the content side of things. I guess let's start at the beginning. What would your tips be for sellers to create good content from the jump, and what distinguishes good content from bad content?
Cool. Great question. So if it's short form content, you have to understand human behavior to have very short attention span, right? Think about how long it takes us before we swipe up and we jump onto the next piece of content. So the first millisecond is so important that a good piece of content will start with content and then go into context, right? So like, here's a water bottle, and then explain why it's important or why I have it in my hand or whatever it may be. Versus water is very good for drinking. No, right? You're getting straight into information and it's just like swipe. Mm-hmm. You have to intrigue people with content before context. Most people start with context and they want to give that information. But you have to understand you only have 10, 15 seconds with the person, maybe 30, 50, 60 seconds. So you really need to like get to the point, get to the content, because that's what people want. It's the final destination. And then give them the plane ride throughout the video. So that way you could kind of sprinkle it and give them a bit more information, which is context to the content. So generally I see most people starting off with that. Do you see that too, Rob, sometimes?
Yeah, quite a bit. And one thing I also see, and I wanted to kind of have you address this too, especially on Instagram, I see the same people doing the same thing. And I've even seen people post that if you're going to get started on Instagram, use these 5 different hooks, right? Like how to, or this or that, right? And it's like, and then you see 100 people doing the same type of layout for their video. And yeah, it is a hook, and it's a good hook. And I guess it probably depends on what you're how-toing or depending on what you're saying, right? And it always kind of does have a hook, but it just seems like it's the same all the time. Like nobody's being different. So could you address that a little bit? Like if somebody is just getting started, should they start with kind of a proven hook or try to maybe modify a hook to make it their own? Like what have you seen, Sammer?
Definitely. I personally don't like templates. I don't like things that's like everyone's doing it because it's copy paste, right? You scroll up, copy paste, and then it gets outdated very quickly. Now we have to understand also it's human behavior. So if something works, something might work, we could replicate it and twist it in our own way. So let's say I'm in real estate and I see on, I don't know, a channel that's about cars. Okay. Completely different niche, completely different things. But the way that they structured their video, so the way their hook started. So they're showing a car, but now I'm like, okay, how can I use this video to do it on my real estate channel where no one else is doing the same topic? Let's say in real estate, everyone's doing, next time the house owner talks to you, tell them this. And everyone's doing that. Then you're kind of annoyed of it. Versus you go to a car guy and he says something completely different. You're like, hey, maybe I could try something new. So you grab it from a car channel and then you use that structure in your real estate channel, which becomes a little bit different. That's one way to do it.
I agree.
Another way is like your own ideas, writing down. The thing about hooks is very, very important, by the way, for anyone who's starting off. The thing that most people don't tell you is that it's not one hook or one title or one script that's going to hit. That same hook has to be written 5 to 6 different ways for you to really see the difference. Speak them out loud. It's very, very important. When you say something in your head, it rings completely different than when you say it out loud. So write 4 or 5 different hooks, see if it makes sense, talk to a few people around you if you can, understand if it hits with your audience, and see if there's a pain point. And practice is going to be everything. So the first few times, it may not, hit off the bat, but the more you do it, the more you're going to be like, oh, now I get it because of my retention graph, right? So let's say I give it to you too early, you'll see the graph just shoot down. Even if you have 100 views, YouTube will show you that. So you'll see that huge shoot down, and then you'll be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't say that at the beginning. I should keep it towards the end, right? So it's really just understanding how to structure your videos. And to do that, most people just turn on the camera and they just start recording, but they have no end product, no end result. What is the viewer actually going to get out of this video? So scripting is super important. You need to come up with the idea before you even turn on the camera. You need to say, what is the person going to feel when they walk away from this video? What is the person going to get out of this video when they walk away from it? And how can I make it for them to watch the whole thing?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And I think you brought up a good point. And by the way, if I hear one more time, these websites are illegal, I hear that so many freaking times because I follow all the AI people. But anyways, you did bring up a good point though. And I want to touch on that is, kind of quality versus quantity. Like once you kind of maybe found something that's working, it's maybe a niche for you, or it's something that's your own thing. How many times should we be posting? Like, should I be posting daily? Should I be spacing it out? Help us out with that, at least with, how often we should be posting when we found something that works.
Great question. So if we are going to focus on short form content, it's a different story than long form. Long form, it's quality over quantity as always. Once a week generally is fine. Once every 2 weeks is also okay. You want to do once every week, stay relevant, stick around, right? When you start going more than 2-3 times a week, then you get audience fatigue. And you get people that are like, hey, I don't need to watch this person. It's like if we had one coaching call a week, you're going to do everything you can to show up to it. But if it's 3 or 4 times a week, you can be like, I could skip one. I don't really have to show up to this one. And then it doesn't show that as much urgency. It doesn't have as much urgency. So long form.
Is there an ideal? Like or does it depend on the content? Like would 2 Instagrams a post a week be good? Or for some content is 5 good?
Yes. So exactly. So now let's go to short form. Short form content is a little bit different, right? So every day people are on social media all day long, every day, right? I have an account that I grew over to 130,000, 140,000 followers. And one thing that I noticed with that account is I had to keep posting consistently every single day, 1 post a day. That helped me a lot. Okay. The reason for that, again, this is more edutainment and education. Entertainment. So let's say for the Amazon sellers out there that have products to sell, there's a lot of people on Instagram. I don't know if you guys see them, but they create these like POV, my wife killed me for buying this video. And then there's like a compilation of like 6 things, and they have like 22 million views on that. And everybody in the comments like, where do I buy this? Where do I buy this? Super simple, super straightforward. And you could post 1 a day, every single day, and it will generally hit because people want to buy, they're consumers. There's always new products, new ideas, and it is exciting. So you won't really get audience fatigue on Instagram as much as if it were to happen on YouTube long form content. Shorts can be posted daily. Short form content can always be posted daily because it's just so short, right? Just a few seconds of your day, you get that dopamine hit, and then you move on to something else.
It's true.
So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What about like a recording schedule versus a release schedule? Because what I find sellers, express to us, or when I'm speaking to them at shows, is like, I don't have time to record something every single day, right? Or they don't know how to do a recording block in their day and still be relevant with the viral content, right? Like with the trends. So what do you recommend as far as speaking more specifically to short form of like an Instagram recording session, like a Reels or a TikTok or whatever?
Yeah, 100%. So what I do is I have a scripting day, I have a recording day, and I have an editing day. So right here, actually, I'll show you quick. I always have a bunch of shirts next to me in my room for filming day, which is me in the same scenario. So I script write an entire day, right? So I sit down, I'll script write for about 5 to 6 hours, and I'll write down everything. Generally, it's today. It's on Tuesdays. And then what I will do is I will come back to it on Thursdays, and I will review all the scripts. Because sometimes when we have a conversation with someone or anybody, we walk away and we're like, we should have said that, right? We all have those moments. So this is why you have to come back to your script, because you could be like, I should have said this better, or I could have done this better. So don't record it, post it, and be like, I should have. Just come back to it a few days later. I like to do 2 days. My brain's kind of changed. I come back, I look at it. I'm like, maybe I could change it like this. So I'll rewrite the script. Then I'll be like, okay, this is good. I like it. I wrote 4 different scripts for this specific short piece of content. Doesn't usually take that long. For about 10 scripts, takes me about an hour. So it's really, really quick if you have the ideas. And that's very important, is to just write your ideas beforehand, right? So throughout the week, I have Notion on my phone. You can have Trello or Notion. You open it up and you just type in an idea. You have any idea about a video, just type it. If you don't want any of those things, send it to yourself via text message. Figure it out. Just kind of always have a list of ideas. And then on the day that you have to script, you go in, you script a bunch of different scripts. You come back 2 days later, you look over them, they're good to go. And then you have filming day. So filming day, I sit here for about 2-3 hours and I film all my videos. So a lot of them take 2 takes, 3 takes. That thing is very important. A lot of people, it's like, they think it's the first take, that it's like the magic formula. Generally, it's like the 4th and 5th take where your mind is kind of used to it. You kind of have a bit of muscle memory and speaking memory, and it flows a lot easier. So the 4th and 5th take are usually the nicest ones. So you have to do a few different takes for each one. Then I literally take off my shirt, I take off one ring, I'll put it down, I'll put on my hat the other way, I'll go do my hair. Like, it's all on the same day, but I just look different within the few hours that I do it in. Yeah, it's the easiest way of doing it. And the more that I work with bigger creators, that's their strategy. So before I got into like the bigger creators, I realized, I was like, how are they doing this? Like, how do you have time to do all this? You know? But they're like, dude, I film all this in one day. I change all my shirts. I have like everything different, literally a wardrobe. I record everything, and then I have scheduling them over time to just keep posting. And by scheduling, you don't have to literally go into an app and schedule them. I prefer to manually post. I feel like that we've gotten the best results by manually posting. I have a social media agency as well, and we did a lot of scheduled posts, and we noticed not that much interaction with the channel. So my theory, and it could have been even something proven, is that if you're not using the platform, users, like, the platform wants you to use the platform as well as post on it. So they want you to be a user and a person that's like engaging and being in business. So that's where we've seen more. So I like to go in, engage with our clients' accounts, like posts, whatever, and then post manually. But at least we know now we're good for a month and a half, and I don't have to worry about content. Because if you make 10 posts and you post every 3 to 4 days, you have about 30 to 40 days of not having to refilm or all that stuff. And then that time you're script writing and you're filming again and editing. And you start building up this process. Depending if you edit your videos or not, you might want to block out a day or 2. If you have an editor, send it over to them and it'll be done for you.
That is awesome. We are going to take a quick break in here from our sponsor, but we will be right back with talking about how to go viral with your Amazon content.
Today's episode is brought to you by Getida, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at Getida.com/Sellernomics.
All right, y'all, be sure to head over to Getida.com/Sellernomics for that first $400 in FBA reimbursements free. We are back with Sam or Itani. And even right before we hit record, we were like, are we talking about like YouTube or short form content? And I think that we should have just from the jump separated the two out, because I have like 10, 15 questions in my head about each half of it. And we might have to have you back on to, kind of go between each side of things. But I do like what you said about I wanted to ask you about when you're talking about the scheduling. I did hear, this was, months ago, and things of course change, right? But that using some of the scheduling platforms like Hootsuite, Buffer, if there's one, there's 1,000 of them, does impact the visibility of your video or your content on the platforms because they want you to be using it. But I'd also heard something about if you're posting the same content across multiple platforms, that they kind of talk to each other. And so you need to stagger out, if you've got video A, B, C, and D that you're posting on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts, all on Monday, all on Tuesday, that's going to impact your ranking, if you will. Have you also found that to be true?
Not specifically that. Like, look, I give you a perfect example with one of my students. He has 1.3 million subscribers on YouTube, 2.4 million on TikTok, and 800,000 on Instagram. they're all the same exact videos, all posted at different days. He first started off with TikTok, and then he blew up like crazy, over like 1.5 million views, 1.5 million followers in about 6 months.
Mm.
So I was like, yo, bro, you need to put that on Shorts. Like, what are you doing? So he literally just started reposting the same exact thing on Shorts. And, every day he would post a new video, new video, new video. And then his Shorts, after about 21, 30 days, really started taking off. And now his Shorts have gained more than 2.3 billion views. And he only has about 200 videos. So like it's pretty crazy how much views he has. And it's still blowing up. And then we did the same thing on Instagram, and it still blew up. And they were all at different time periods, completely different time periods. Like this is over the span of 3 years. So he started off with like TikTok, and then stopped for like he didn't do it for a while. And then he he then added Shorts, like 2 years, not 3 years, Shorts. And then he went to Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's a very good question. I would probably look a little bit more into it, but from what I've seen, it doesn't seem that detrimental.
But he's posting them on different times. What I had meant was you have this
Same
one,
day.
the one reel that you have made, or the one short form video, and you are hitting it on Facebook, Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts all at the exact same time. That I've heard is no good.
It's no good. Okay, I have not tried that. I love to speak out of experience. I haven't tried that, so I can't tell you, but I will test it. I love testing things. So that's really good to know.
We're going to have you back on and tell us how the results are.
100%.
I do want to ask you though, since we are mainly catering to Amazon sellers, most of them are selling products. What kind of platform should they be looking at to sell their products? Is there one that's better than the other, or does it not matter? And you should, kind of like you were saying, like this particular person, we don't know if they were selling products, but put his content all over and it did great everywhere. So what's your thought on that from what you've seen?
So as a YouTube guru, an expert, I'm just kidding. I'm going to tell you to post on TikTok, which is crazy, right? Obviously, all platforms are awesome. Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest is freaking awesome. Really, really good. A lot of people underestimate Pinterest. I have one of my clients, we went to 1 million monthly visitors within just like 3.5 months. And everyone thought it was dead. And it's an animal niche, which is like something we never even thought could happen. But it's crazy. Pinterest is super underrated. But Pinterest is really good for products, and depending on your product, depending on your niche. TikTok is probably my favorite, especially because of the virality and the link in bio. As much as I love YouTube, and I'm all for YouTube, of course, it does not have link in bio. It doesn't even have link in comments anymore because of all the spam. So they've kind of removed it. As of today, of course, things might change. But as of today, they don't have that. So your video can get 2-3 million views, and then now the person has to now go search for you or click on this. Like, it creates more of a obstacle rather than TikTok. They go to their homepage, they click on top, they click on your shop. It's there. They even have TikTok shop now. They're fulfilled by TikTok. So it's like a fulfillment center by TikTok, similar to Amazon. So I really like TikTok. As much as I love YouTube, it's really good. TikTok's really good. And it's become a search engine. It's become a search engine, which is huge. And in 2021, it was the first year that TikTok surpassed Google like website visits, which is crazy. No one ever thought Google would be getting surpassed. No. So yeah, I'm all for TikTok. I love TikTok. And I would probably say that's the best platform, but I highly recommend being on all the platforms.
Yeah.
Right. Like I could mention 2 to 3 Instagram accounts right now that have millions and millions of views on every single post. And they're in the Amazon space, and they do Amazon, either affiliate, Amazon shop, or just their personal Amazon brand. So
wow.
Yeah.
And do you recommend that other sellers kind of follow accounts like that and see what they're doing? I mean, like you had said with the example of the realtor, if you keep hearing the same pitch again and again, but then you go to the car guy and he has something a little bit different, then that could really boost your content because it's unique. But for Amazon sellers, as far as like I don't know if style is the right way to put it, but also so many people are like camera shy. They don't want their face to be shown, right? So I guess what are some of your tips for starting out making that content for somebody where it's completely new to them? Who should they follow? What should they watch? Et cetera.
Okay. So the thing is about Amazon sellers, what's cool about it is you could be completely faceless. You don't have to be on camera, because at the end of the day, the person cares more about the product than they care about you, with all due respect to everyone watching, right? They care about the product, and they care about themselves. That's what people do. It's human behavior, right? We look at a selfie. The first thing we look at in that image is ourselves. We don't look at the other people. We look at us, and then we focus on the other people, what they're doing. That's just because we care about us. So when it comes to creating content for Amazon sellers, it's very, very easy to see like different pieces of content. So yes, following them. A person that I like to watch, he's drop shipping, but he gives you the idea, and what's cool about him, he shows you the trials and tribulations, he shows you the ups and downs and the truth behind what could happen through TikTok and all this. His name is Mikey Again on YouTube. He does drop shipping again, but he'll show you a video or two that can give you an idea. But a great way of doing it is going to YouTube, going to either YouTube, sure, but mostly TikTok, and optimizing your homepage for the Amazon finds. So what we do is we go to search and we write Amazon finds. We watch all these videos all the way through. So we're optimizing our page. And then we go TikTok made me buy this. We look that up. We watch a bunch of videos and we optimize our homepage. So we go to our For You page. Now all of a sudden we have the most viral products that are going there. And what we do is we copy what they did. So Mikey, again, literally says that. He optimizes his homepage. He finds a guy. He copies identically what the video did to a certain extent, of course, his own way, whatever it is. But the structure, meaning if there was cuts every 3 seconds, we know that human behavior, whenever there's a cut in a video, it resets the brain. So maybe at every 3 seconds, you should have a cut. Don't put your product too long there, right? Show something else. So there's different ways like that. I see a lot of them where it's like POV, my wife is going to divorce me for buying this. And it's just like the product in his hand and he just goes like this right in front of the camera. And that video has like 20 million views, right? And then a bunch of comments, where do we buy this? Where do we buy this? So you could be creative depending on what you sell. You might have to do something different. Like somebody was selling, pots for plants. People were like, well, how the heck am I going to advertise that? Well, do a bunch of different videos of different plants that you're putting in there, or maybe like weird things with the pots. So like plant different things than plants, right? So show different things, or plant a really cool plant in there. There's a bunch of different ideas to kind of come in at it where it's not just like, here's a plant pot, right? So it's like, does it sink? Yeah. Does it flow? Which one's stronger? I'm going to drop this from this, like height, and I'm going to drop this plant size from this height. Like just become creative with creating content that people want to watch, which is edutainment. And because it's going to go viral, most people probably won't buy. But a percentage, which is like a funnel, percentage of these people, it's awareness and like, I want to buy this. So you have to remember too, going viral, sometimes it just goes viral, but you may not get everyone to buy. You can have 20 million views, but only have 1,000 sales, which is still awesome because you have 1,000 sales.
Yeah. I wonder where you would put the threshold of what viral is, because and my perspective is viral content isn't what it used to be, right? Like hide your kids, hide your wife, and ain't nobody got time for that. That is viral. Chewbacca mom. Like that is viral content. It was never intended to go viral, never intended to be anything other than strictly what it was, a funny video, 2 wild interviews, right? So at what point can somebody go back to their team, a marketer, a social media person, and be like, this is the one where we went viral? Like, what is that metric?
Okay. That's a very, very, very good question, because a lot of people ask me that. And it's so funny. I did say viral. I usually hate using the word viral when it comes with my students because it's not tangible, right? Somebody to me is viral is like 1,000 views. Somebody else is 1 million. And somebody else is like Mr. Beast. He's like, he needs 1 billion views to be viral, right? Or like 500 million views. So everybody is different when it comes to virality. But what stands out to me is this completely like destroying all the other performance from your videos? So if you have 4,000 views, 5,000 views, 8,000 views, and then you have a video that has 500,000 views, to me, that's considered viral for you, right? Okay. You went viral. Now, is that the real term for viral? No. Viral is whenever it goes out of proportion viral. Now you're on media channels, media outlets. It's all over the place. Same thing like you said. So ain't nobody got time for that. Or that song that the guy was like singing, they made a song out of it, a remix. Mm-hmm. That is viral because it went everywhere. It doesn't matter which platform you were on. You saw that video. It didn't matter, right? That's virality. That's a true meaning of virality. But we've used the word viral nowadays, meaning I got more views than usual.
Yeah. So it's more so about grading against yourself. The term virality has really been diluted, but when a seller's looking at it, just getting into the game, like you said, 4,000 views here, 5,000, and then they got 50, 100, 500,000. That's it.
That's viral. To me, again, to them, it could not be, but generally, yes. Like Mikey, again, he has a TikTok page where the first 2 videos got like 2 million views and then 6 million views. That's viral on your first 2 videos. Yeah. You have zero followers, 0 anything. You have 6 million views. To me, that's considered viral in that term. Right. Yeah. But then the next video has 6,000 views and 30,000 views. That's not considered viral if you got 6 million views at the first time.
So,
Right.
Sammer, let's ask something before we kind of break into talking more about 2 chapters ahead and what you do. Could you quickly just kind of share with us? I know this is probably a hard one to share quickly, but let's talk a little bit about any of the AI tools you use, any of the editing software, the microphones, like lighting. What kind of, if an Amazon seller is looking to do this, what are some of the basics they should be doing? A camera, not a camera, webcam, help out a little bit with some of the basic setup that they're going to need to kind of be able to do this and get these products out there for everybody.
All right, cool. So a few different things that you really need that's very important when it comes to these types of videos. Audio doesn't really matter because most of the time you're going to have a voiceover, either a fake voiceover, which is like the auto-generated one, which is like, look at this product or whatever it may be, something very random. So you don't need to worry too much about that. Lighting is the most important thing. Right? Most people film in a very dark, grainy background, or it's just dark and you can't even see the product. You don't understand it. It just doesn't look good. It looks like somebody literally didn't have any lighting. So lighting is the most important thing. You could go to Amazon, you could buy either a ring light, or you could buy the brand is called Newer, and they're softbox lights. So just they're relatively cheap. They're pretty good. You set them up, you put them both on like 2 angles like this on top of your product. Your product's right down the middle. And then you just have them on top of it and you film your product on a desk. You go to IKEA and buy $29 desk. I've had one of those. It's super good, very useful. Go to Walmart, wherever it may be, super cheap if you're trying to get into it. A phone, any phone that has a good camera. So again, not grainy, don't film with a potato. Film with, a good camera to a certain extent. If you want to use a DSLR, you can, but a phone nowadays has just as good graphics. An iPhone probably beats some DSLRs, right? So
sure.
Just use an iPhone and a tripod. You just want a tripod, something stable, something easy to use. You don't want to use something that has like rigidity. Like I have 2 types of tripods. This one here is one you don't want to use because it has this thing and it could wobble. So this is just for me to like talk to people. I have it right here, and then I have a tripod where I'm actually filming, which is my DSLR is on it right now. But that's actually a tripod where I put in my camera and it's stable. And you want to get one that has an angle. So that way you could angle it down, whether it's down, you don't want the background, right? You want the desk and then whatever the product is, depending on what you're doing. If you're going to do other videos that you don't need a tripod, then you're holding the phone in your hand and you're just filming whatever is going on in front of you. Keep in mind, people don't watch ads. People watch things that interest them. And sometimes those things are ads. So make videos interesting, make videos relatable. Don't try to go super, super fancy and make it so perfect because people can't relate to that. And now it's an ad and people are like, I don't want to watch an ad. But if you're like, yo, this is my stuff and it's a messy bed. Like I've seen videos that go super viral and it's like a messy bed and whatever. And the guy picks it off his bed and the video has millions of views. I'm like, how does it go viral? But it's because people can relate and people are people, right? So
absolutely.
That's
what about editing wise?
So editing wise, I use, if you're going to use something for free, you could use CapCut.
Yeah.
Right?
CapCut. Yep. I've got that on my computer.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can use it from your phone. You could use it from your computer. Super awesome, super easy to use. CapCut, super easy. It has auto-generated captions, has everything and anything you need. You could use Villa. It's another app that I use on my phone, but I would just go CapCut, honestly, because Villa, you end up having to pay for it and all this stuff. But CapCut, super, super good, super easy to use. For if you want a voiceover, so there's a few different cool tricks with voiceovers. You could use 11 Labs is my personal favorite. It sounds like a real human. You could even upload your own voice. So depending on the package you take, you could either do a free package, which is you upload like 40 seconds and it mimics your voice to a certain extent. Or if you pay $30, you could actually send in a 30-minute voice of yourself and they send you back, guys, literally you speaking. It is insanely crazy. My friend does it and now he has a faceless channel and he's no longer on the camera anymore. He doesn't have to be there. He literally types up his whole script, press enter, and he has his voiceover. Keep in mind, all these things are still AI tools, so there is editing needed. Some AI tools may not work, right? You might you might start it or generate it, and then it just goes blah, 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 and you're like, I gotta fix this. So you gotta fix some certain parts. So it's not just press play and go. So 11 Labs awesome for AI voiceover, editing, CapCut. I personally don't like to use anything like Opus or anything that takes a video and then clips it up for you. It's not human, it has no soul. It's not going to understand human behavior just yet. So I wouldn't recommend using like that. Midjourney is awesome. You guys should use Midjourney. Create your own images. Runway is really, really cool as well to turn those images into videos. And there's even a new one that just came out, which is really, really cool, that turns like it actually creates videos for you. I get you guys the name in a few seconds, but it's really, really cool. You just type whatever you want and it creates a brand new video for you that's never existed. So it's kind of a mix of Runway and Midjourney together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you gotta find out what that is, because now you got me curious. So
Yeah,
you'll have to find out what that is for us.
Gotcha.
And we'll have to have it in this episode. But let's, as you're kind of looking for that, let's transition a little bit over to, you know, telling us a bit more about 2 chapters ahead, what kind of services you offer, how you help people. I know you and I have talked about this, but let everybody else know.
Yeah. So 2 chapters ahead, just to give you guys an idea of what it is, it's where students become the teachers. So it's a crazy idea I've had for a very, very long time. And it started off because I don't know if you guys ever watched the movie Accepted. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So it kind of started off my idea there. I'm a high school dropout. I never thought school was for me. And I was always like, you don't even know what you're teaching. So like, why am I listening to you? With all due respect to teachers. But most people are not experienced. They just read a book and now they're teaching it. And Albert Einstein has an awesome quote that says, theory and practice are the same in theory, but in practice, they're different.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning everything in practice is very often different than in theory. And the only way to really learn is experience. So what I've noticed is all my students have wanted to become coaches. They now want to teach what they've learned. And who better to learn from than the person who's been there and they're in the trenches. So 2 chapters ahead just means you don't need to know everything in order to get started or to teach somebody else. You just need to be 2 chapters ahead of them, and then you can help somebody else. So that's how we're going to make a world a better place and help over 1 billion people live a better life, is by simply passing forth the knowledge that we gain, and we don't need to know everything about it. So it removes imposter syndrome from our life. So that's the idea of 2 chapters ahead. Now it's just starting off. The vision of it is a school. So it's every and any different idea, topic, whatever it may be. We have YouTube right now, we have social media, and we have mindset coaching. So that's currently the students that became teachers and within that area. But slowly we have a guy that wants to teach crypto. We have another guy that wants to teach finance, stocks. So the more they're into it, the more that they could just bring in people and teach people. So that's the idea of it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and if you ever want to join, I mean, feel free to follow us on social media. We have 2 chapters ahead, or any other social media platform. You could go ahead and find us 2 chapters ahead. Another fun thing that we do is we all the money that I receive from the Patreon, because we have a Patreon with other YouTubers and like-minded people, we donate 100% of the proceeds, literally 100% of the proceeds, to building wells in 3rd world countries. So just this year alone, we've built about 19 wells, and we have 10 that we just ordered right now. So we're up to like 29 wells, and that's inspired people around us as well to start building wells, because it's just so cool. And we take water for granted. Cool. But you know, it's
very
cool. It all comes together.
Yeah, that's
also
amazing.
The website. Let's give out the website too. Yeah.
So the website's
2 chapters ahead. Yeah.
Yes.
2chaptersahead.com. So TWO chapters with an S on the end, ahead.com. Head on over there, check it out. By the time this is live, it should have the new website up.
It should be up.
Yeah, keep checking back there. You know, I met Sammer on the Online Seller Cruise. And after I got done talking to him, I went over to Carlos Alvarez and I was like, Carlos, I've been in YouTube since 2007. I've been certified at YouTube since 2016. And there's very few people I talk to that know more than I do about YouTube and actually know what they're talking about. And Sammer's definitely one of those guys. So he's got my recommendation, hence why we have him on the show. Sure. He knows this stuff. If you are interested in signing up for Sammer's course, or, you know, learning about becoming part of a member with him, and this really cool course he has set up. And actually, to me, I was like blown away how cheap he's actually charging on this. Some others might think it's a little expensive, but really for what you're getting and the amount of hands-on, it's definitely worth it. Head on over to 2chaptersahead.com and check that out. So
correct. Yeah. And I have something special for you guys. Super low ticket. Just a little side note, if that's okay, Rob.
Sure.
So
yeah, go for it.
If you ever, I have a little surprise for you guys. Whenever you come to the website, you'll see something, but you'll be able to get into the community now. I've just released it. It's not fully released yet, but you guys will probably be the first people to join it. Super low ticket community. So anybody can join if they want to learn anything and everything, and they have access to me, which is on a coaching call once a week. Awesome. And that's going to be very low ticket. I'm literally talking like $15 a month. So
nice.
There you go. Excellent.
That's amazing.
Excellent. That's perfect.
Yeah. So
Very
if
good
whenever
value there.
this launches and the website isn't up, check again the next day and the next day and the next day. It'll be there. Awesome. Samar, thank you so much for being here with us. We super appreciate all of your time and expertise. And we'll have to have you on again to have a more in-depth discussion about YouTube specifically. Maybe we'll do like YouTube, Reels, TikTok, Pinterest. Like you
Show
said,
for each
Pinterest
one.
is underrated. Yeah.
Let's do it. I'd be more
Awesome.
than happy to. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate your time. And for all the viewers, keep watching Sellernomics podcast because it is the place to be. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, and thank you so much to everybody who tuned in today. If you guys liked what you heard, please be sure to give us a thumbs up, share your thoughts with us in the comments, subscribe to the show, and we will see you all on the next one.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Sellernomics podcast. Special thanks to our sponsor, Getida. Did you know that Amazon probably owes you money for FBA reimbursements? Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at Getida.com/Sellernomics. Be sure to join us again next week for more great tips on how to grow your business. And thanks again for listening.